What was a loophole that you found and exploited? Going anonymous because you never know. Many years ago in Canada I lived in an apartment shared with a couple of other students. Canada is cold. As students, we each had a room and a central kitchen. Heating was included in the rent. Great. We just set the kitchen heat control thermostat to 72 degrees. This was great in September, even October, into November and onwards we enjoyed the comfortable ambient temperature you would expect for a heated apartment. Sometime in late November or early December the landlord began to complain that his heating costs were too high. He asked if we would mind setting the heat to 60 degrees while we were on campus in classes and overnight sleeping, and 70 degrees when we were there during the evening. Sure. No problem. Reasonable. We complied. In January the landlord complained again about heating costs being too high. We thought we had been flexible enough. We were doing as reasonable measures and were paying the same rent as we had in September through November. Heat was supposed to be included in the rent. Landlord asked if we would do 50 degrees for days, and 60 degrees for evenings and overnight. We declined. Not reasonable. We were paying for heat. There was a discussion and some negotiation. Then, that landlord made a strategic blunder. One day he said he would be doing maintenance while we were in class. When we came home, we discovered that he had put a locked plastic box over the thermostat, and had set it for 50 degrees. Colder than cool. It was frigid in both the rooms and the kitchen. Doing that while we were out for class had been a mean and dirty trick. Not to be outdone, we got a plain old bucket. Canada, as you might expect, has snow from sometime in December until mid-late April. Our standard practice became for the first person going into the house from class and the last person going out for the day to hang a bucket packed with snow on that locked thermostat box. The landlord just couldn't figure out why his costs went up, and why we stopped complaining. That bucket of snow kept that heat-controlling thermostat thinking it was freezing in the apartment and kept the furnace running just fine. It took a while to get the right amount of snow to get a comfortable temperature. Soon, we were warm and cozy. The landlord had to give us a day's notice for any inspections, and the bucket was always standing in the corner with a mop in it by the time he arrived. He'd always find the apartment a frigid 50 degrees during his inspections. We used that bucket for the rest of the lease. Until there was no snow to be found. It wasn't a paper loophole, but a technical one. Exploited it to the fullest.